All right. Good afternoon. So we're Hyperloop Transportation Technologies, and we're transforming transportation at the speed of sound. So who here actually knows what the Hyperloop really is? I'm going to test you guys later. So for everybody else, we have a little video here that shows how it all started, where we are right now, and where we're going. So enjoy.
America's always been a nation of doers. We build things, we take risks, and we believe that if you have a good idea and are willing to work hard enough, you can turn that idea into a successful business.
Billionaire philanthropist Elon Musk has hinted at a new high-speed transport system that could put planes and trains out of business.
I have a name for it, which is called the Hyperloop.
So what's Hyperloop? Mr. Musk's plan: move people using a massive vacuum tube combined with a magnetic levitation system. Kind of like a Jetsons tunnel?
It's something like that, yeah.
Here's how he teased the idea in May at an All Things D conference.
It's a cross between a Concorde and a railgun.
It's called the Hyperloop. It's a system of giant suspended tubes. Riding within are capsules carrying people or freight travelling on cushions of air at speeds of up to 1,200 k's per hour, or roughly 1 kilometre every 3 seconds.
A tube that would be on pillars from Los Angeles to San Francisco, and inside there would be capsule cars that would be rocketed forward up to 700 miles an hour, and that there would be a fan on the front. Elon Musk basically says that this is the way of the future.
How would you like something that can never crash? It is immune to weather. It goes 3 or 4 times faster than the sort of bullet train, and it would cost you much less than an air ticket.
Will only cost to build this $6 or $7 billion. Compare that to the $65 billion for the current high-speed rail plans for California. He believes this is a viable, valuable alternative for mass transit between these two destinations.
Could something like the Hyperloop actually be the answer to super-fast, environmentally friendly, high-speed travel between our busiest cities? So the gauntlet has been thrown down. A design document for a whole new, super-cool way to travel. The only thing now, will someone pick it up and make the Hyperloop a reality?
There are some companies that are forming to try to make the Hyperloop happen, and I encourage them. I think that's great. I'm super focused on Tesla and SpaceX, and to small amount on Solar City, so that basically completely uses up my brain.
Tesla founder Elon Musk proposed this new technology called Hyperloop, and it's being developed right now in Playa Vista, here in this hangar behind me.
The only resistance would be the air in front of the capsule, which we move to the back by using a compressor.
Company Hyperloop has teamed up with the students to create this tube technology that's designed to connect cities up to 400 miles apart.
Dirk Ahlborn says it's safer and more efficient than the railroad.
Well, the system is completely computerized. So you optimize the system, and then you actually have the humans to monitor it. In railroads, most accidents were all human factors. Plus, a lot of the derailments are actually happened because something's on the track. So we're in a closed system. We're completely managed by a computer system. There's no human factor that can actually create those issues. We actually plan on seeing the first Hyperloop very, very soon starting.
Can you imagine and walk us through what it might be like to travel at the speed of sound?
It's not going to be much different than sitting in an airplane, actually. Obviously, for us, it's very important to make it as good of an experience as possible. So this is an independent organization that has formed. We have 170 engineers, scientists, and really great professionals with amazing backgrounds.
The race is on. Elon Musk's vision for a high-speed passenger pods known as the Hyperloop is one step closer to becoming reality this morning. One of the known companies competing to capitalize on Musk's proposal, announcing today it has struck a deal with landowners in Central California to build the first full-scale Hyperloop along a 5-mile stretch along I-5, with construction set to begin in 2016.
Let's bring in Dirk, who is the man who runs the Hyperloop Transportation Technologies team, which is announcing this deal with Quay Valley, California. Dirk, tell me about this deal and really when you expect this Hyperloop, this 5-mile stretch, to be finished.
Quay Valley is supposed to be breaking ground beginning of 2016. That's when we will be working on our development. So we will be starting ground at the same time. At this moment, we expect to be done by 2018.
Hyperloop now appears one step closer to reality. Starting next year, that theory will turn into a groundbreaking in Quay Valley, Kings County off of I-5. A developer there has just committed a big chunk of his private land toward the project. It's a 5-mile loop that would take visitors through a planned entertainment district.
There's going to be a test track. Elon Musk has announced that he's going to build a small-scale test track. It's a necessary step for us to be building a full-scale version, and Quay Valley is a sustainable model town of the 21st century, so it's a perfect fit. They're expecting over 10 million visitors per year, so we will actually be able to generate revenues very, very fast.
The company plans to go public later this year.
We want to do a public offering. We want to give our community that's supporting us a possibility to own parts of the company. We want to make sure that the people that have been helping building the company and this technology are able to participate in the investment, in the fundraising, and the upside of the company.
With their contributions to Hyperloop, these students from around the world now have stock options in the company, but they say they're not in it for the money.
As a student, I start to feel like I'm in part of some great career that might change the world.
Will the Hyperloop kill the railroad?
The Hyperloop is going to do to the U.S. what the railroads did in the 1800s. So it will change the way we live. It's possible today. It's based on existing technologies, and it's the right time, it's the right moment to finally get something doing like this.
Is it visionary? In 30 years' time, will you and I be sitting on our rocking chairs going, well, we talked about it then, and he did it?
So you think this is possible? This is not just...
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah.
For all those who said this is just a neat little thing to draw on a cocktail napkin, these guys are saying it will become reality.
All right. So those were basically 3 years put together in 4 or 5 minutes. So just to reiterate, what is a Hyperloop? So imagine a capsule filled with people hovering inside a tube and moving really, really fast from one point to the other. The capsule is not touching anywhere. It's levitating through a passive magnetic levitation system. So basically we worked with one of the best known national research centers in the US, Lawrence Livermore Labs, and they had developed this passive magnetic levitation, which basically doesn't need any electricity to levitate. It levitates through the movement with permanent magnets. Safety is one of the main concerns because we are working on moving passengers. So we have developed a new material which we call vibranium. And vibranium is basically a material that something's wrong with. Sorry. Well, vibranium is basically a material it's a smart material. It's a composite material. It has sensors embedded inside. It actually makes sure that we know how healthy the capsules are. So it measures the structural integrity of the capsule, of the skin. As you can see, the capsules have 2 layers, which means that if one of them is damaged, the other one can still make sure that you get home. And because the material is smart, we then can know that we have to take this capsule out of circulation. Inside the tube, we create a low pressure environment. So basically, we take all the air out so that the capsule, when it's traveling through, doesn't encounter any resistance. So very similar to an airplane that goes into really high altitudes. The capsule can go now much faster with much less energy. It's on pylons. So basically you still can get from one side to the other. It's also much cheaper because you don't have to buy all the land. You just buy the land where the pylon is standing. And we can integrate the latest earthquake technology. Capacity is often a question, so we're actually studying different ways and how we can stack the tubes on top of each other. This is a very early concept. And this is the most important part. It's completely green. We use solar, wind, kinetic energy through regenerative braking, and in some climates, even geothermal. Sorry, it's a very sensitive clicker. All right, so this is the most important part. Not because it's green, well, that's one of the aspects, but there's no rail line, no metro line in the whole world that's profitable. Because we're using alternative energy, our energy cost is basically zero. We're actually producing more energy than we're using, which makes our operational costs very, very little and allows us to be profitable in a very short time span. On something like Los Angeles to San Francisco, we would be profitable within 8 years. But a little bit more about that later. So why should we actually build a Hyperloop? This is why. Traffic. And I haven't seen much of it in Cartagena, but I heard Bogota is terrible. And, well, we spend a lot of time in traffic. We spend a lot of time that we could be productive. We spend a lot of time that we could be with people that matter to us. Actually, traffic is so important that based on where we live, we decide where we work, right? Based on where we live, we decide who we date. Because if he lives on the other side of the city, it's probably not going to work out, right? And then there's this. Traveling sucks. I don't think anybody enjoys really traveling. You enjoy getting to the destination, but the process in the middle, definitely not. So we believe we can do better. Then there is this. Beijing on a sunny day. On a bad day, you actually can't see your hand in front of your face. Now, some people think this is China, of course, yeah. But this is not a problem that we only have in China or India. This is a problem that we have all over the world. If you live in any of the metropolitan areas, if you live in Europe, on average, I think you're losing 14 months of your life thanks to pollution. And of course, transportation is not the most, not the only thing, but I think we should do something about it. It actually is a big part. The railway industries, a dinosaur industry. We're building old infrastructure, very expensive, when we could build new ones, much, much cheaper. These are railroad tracks. They're 1 meter 43.5 apart. That's the space in between. Does anybody in here know why? Nobody? The Roman carriage. So basically, we're building today new infrastructure based on the butts of 2 horses. But if we would take those tracks and we would actually make them larger, we could now transport more people faster and safer, and freight, of course, as well. So this is what I was alluding to before. So again, no rail line, no metro line in the whole world is profitable. They're all relying on government subsidies, taxpayer monies. So this is Los Angeles. The Los Angeles Metro makes 76 cents per passenger, and $2.50 are coming from taxpayers per passenger. But now some people say, well, LA, everybody drives, of course, who takes the metro? But it's not only LA, it's all over the world. Even New York, the New York Metro loses 82 cents per passenger, which comes out to $2.2 billion a year. Germany subsidizes their rail network with $22 billion every single year. So, but how would our lives be if we would have a Hyperloop? Well, we're building more airports, right, because they're overflowing. Now these airports could actually become terminals because we could connect them and be very fast from one to the other. We could build these airports further out of the city, but still be there in very short time frames, 10 minutes. Freight, we could move freight from Asia to Europe in hours rather than in weeks. We could deliver all over the country within an hour. This is probably the most exciting part. We can live in one place and work in another. We can actually create new cities and live in nicer areas. And just through the real estate operation, because you're buying, now let's say 150 kilometers outside of Cartagena, and you're building a new city, green, and you're still within 10 minutes in the city center. But how are we going to do this? So, turns out the technology is actually not that difficult. Has been around for quite some time. We know how to build pylons. We know how to build tubes. We also know how to create a vacuum inside a tube. So this is a picture of the CERN Hadron Collider in Switzerland. And the vacuum inside these tubes, it's much, much higher than the vacuum that we're actually using. And the company part of the CERN making sure that the vacuum is being kept is actually part of our team. Alternative energy is an obvious choice. It's very similar to storage, to chips, computer chips. It's getting better every single year. Cheaper and more efficient. So we know it's a safe bet for the future. But already today, with existing solar energy, we're able to cover 100% of all the energy costs just with solar in California. But we're doing something else different. We're building a company in a completely different way. So you might be familiar with these companies. They all have something in common. They're all failures. Then there are these companies. They all have something in common as well. All of these companies at one point of their history, sorry, it's a couple of slides ahead. All of these companies at one point of their history faced some issues. Lego, for example, was almost bankrupt. They switched the CEO. The new CEO incorporated something called crowdsourcing, and today Lego is one of the most successful toy companies out there. Some of these companies have more than 50% of their innovation coming from the outside. So normally when we talk about a train, a metro, it's done here, behind closed doors. You hear they're going to build a train, a freeway, a metro. Maybe you hear how much it's going to cost, but that's it. You can't participate. What we do is we do something that we call crowdstorming. And with crowdstorming, we basically ask questions. People can join the team, but we ask questions like, do we need a ticket? And not only do we need a paper ticket, but is a ticket the best way to make money? Or are there alternatives? Because if I can find a way to make more money the more the passenger rides, then a ticket becomes negative. Then I use a ticket only to regulate demand. Think about video games. When I was a kid, I had to pay for my video games. They were very expensive. Today, most of them are free, but the video game companies are making way more money than they used to. Or Facebook and Google, which are giving you huge infrastructures, right? And are very successful companies. But yet, you're actually spending more time in your car than on Facebook. But the only thing that tries to monetize on your commute is a radio. So we believe that innovation needs an ecosystem. We don't think that we are the best. We think that if we create the platform where then people and businesses can create on top of, that's the solution. Then we have innovation continuously. Similar to the App Store of the iPhone, right? Apple is selling the phone, but in real, why you're buying it is because of all the apps that you have on the phone. We're also working a lot on the passenger experience, but always with monetization in mind, because remember, the Hyperloop, there's two big advantages. One, it's fast. On the other, it's economical, which allows us to completely rethink alternative business models. So the Augmented Windows is a project that we're developing where we're using augmented reality and virtual reality. So in the Hyperloop, you don't have windows. So we're using screens, and you use head tracking to move the image that you see, so it actually really seems like you're looking outside of a real window. So now imagine going through Terminator Land, Jurassic Park, right? So for you, it's an experience. But for the transportation company, it's actually making money. Here's more or less how it's going to look. So thinking about what your business model, I think, is one of the most important things when you do any business or in any business you are. All right, so we're working in a completely different way than any other transportation company before us, but why? So everybody always talks about the Hyperloop was Elon Musk's idea. But actually, it turns out we have been thinking and talking about tube travel for quite some time. Already Jules Verne's son wrote about it in one of his books. And the first attempt in 1870 in New York, they were trying to build a subway, build a pneumatic subway. So basically it was a tube, and these capsules were pushed through a pressure difference. They wanted to connect New York to San Francisco. Obviously it never happened, but they built a station and built the first track. The first patent was done in 1904 by one of the most renowned rocket scientists, Robert Goddard. In 1969, the Secretary of Transportation of the United States said that tube travel will change the way Americans live and move. And they were financing two projects, which we couldn't see right now, but the Jetsons had the same idea. In the 90s, there was a project called Swiss Metro in Switzerland, where they were tunneling in the mountains and are using a low pressure environment, huge magnetic levitation trains. Technically completely doable, but very expensive. The Simpsons, and then there was Elon Musk. So when Elon Musk said that he wanted, so Elon Musk proposed this project and then said, hey, I'm too busy with Tesla and SpaceX. I would like someone else to pick it up. So at that time, I was part of a non-profit incubator that was funded by NASA. And we were working on a new way of building companies. We created a platform called Jumpstart Fund. And it's all about It's all about building businesses in a different way. If you think about, we do everything online, right? You get your dry cleaning online, you get your groceries, you find your boyfriend, girlfriend online. In America, you even can get divorced online. But if it comes to building a business, it's you with a buddy and a beer in a bar. And you start scribbling on a napkin. But what if you would have 100, 500, 1,000 people that would help you, that are passionate about the same things you are, that would give you their honest opinion, that would give you their ideas? You could build a better company. So that's basically what we did. So when Elon said that he didn't have the time to work on it, we reached out and said, hey, can we put this on the platform? And after we got the permission, we asked our community, should we be working on this? Not only did our community say, yes, you should be doing this, but they said, hey, I want to be part of this. So we worked on the feasibility study. We got 100 engineers together working only for stock options. After we finished our feasibility study, of course, after we said, okay, this is completely doable, now there are others that are trying to do the same thing, which is totally fine. So why am I telling you this? First of all, if you want to join, I want you to join the right company. But you see, we realized that because of all these failed attempts before, that this needed to be different. This needed to be not just a company, it needed to be a movement. And as part of a movement is also that there are others that are trying to do the same thing. Is actually exactly what you want, that it doesn't depend only on you. So from our initially 100 engineers working on the feasibility study, today we're actually almost over 800, 550 roughly individuals and 50 companies all over the world. Here are some of them.
I'm responsible for business development at Ahlborn Vacuum. I'm an educated economist.
I've been working in solar energy for 15 years now.
Program management, project management, and predominantly advisory for the Department of Defense.
I come out of the music industry, kind of mostly known as a saxophone player with Pink Floyd.
I currently teach at the University of Southern California.
I wrote a book about augmented reality for marketing and PR.
1 year at CERN and 3 months at Spotify. And right now I'm working at Facebook.
I work as a localization project manager.
I'm an Emmy award-winning producer, editor, director.
I'll be interning with Tesla Motors for the Thermal and Aero team next semester.
I work as a product manager at Cisco Systems.
All of my work is in the commercialization of innovation.
I'm a product manager at the Walt Disney Company.
I own a firm called Open Plan Consultants in Denver.
I currently own and operate my own private legal and business development consulting firm.
I am currently employed by Apple.
I've got over 40 years in surface transportation.
I'm currently a test engineer at SpaceX.
I'm currently the Chief Strategy Officer for Avetta Global.
We are the Hyperloop!
We are Dirk.
Yeah, so these are not just a couple of guys sitting around at home. These are actually people that work at NASA, SpaceX, Tesla, Apple, Walt Disney, as you've heard, even musicians. We, normally when you talk about rail, people don't get really excited, so it's actually very difficult to get the best people to join you. In our case, we get 5 new applications every single day. And remember, these people are all working for stock options in the company. So when we ask them what they can bring, we ask them, can you bring any money? We have never asked them at the end to bring them, to put the money in, but it's just interesting to see. And I think you can see by the applications how passionate these people are. Here are some. here, and what I really, at least, I don't know, how many entrepreneurs are here? Anybody? Awesome, great. So the takeaway here is actually that you always hear it's so easy to raise funds in America and it's so difficult probably where you are, right? Actually, it's not that easy, not even over there. Maybe a little bit easier, but you know, you don't need a lot of money to build amazing things. So one of the reasons why we did it this way is because we wanted to show that you can do this, that it's actually more effective if you find people that are passionate about the same things you are, and you can build a better team. Can you imagine if you're a CEO of a company and you know your people are coming tomorrow even if they're not getting paid? It's the best feeling in the world. This is the easiest company I've ever built. And, you know, the advice that I can give people is just ask for help, right? Tell people what you do, and when they say, wow, that's amazing, as the next thing say, why don't you help me? Why don't you join me? You will be surprised how often people will actually join you. The companies some of the companies we're working with are Fortune 500 companies. We have Oerlikon Leibold, which is the inventor of the vacuum pump. We have the 4th largest marketing firm in America as part of our team. Everybody's working for stock options. All right, so when are we going to see the Hyperloop? This is Quay Valley. We filed our building permits beginning of this year. We started the land preparation, the mapping, surveying of the land, and are expecting to break ground later this year. From start of construction, we should be taking roughly 36 months. Quay Valley is in between Los Angeles and San Francisco. It's a newly to be built town. It uses cutting edge technology, so it's completely solar powered, it's walkable, it's a very nice place to live, but it's also an entertainment district. So it has 3 resorts, a theme park, a shopping center. So we're actually going to be able to move 10 million people a year. In addition to this, we signed an agreement with the country of Slovakia. We're now looking into building a local transportation system with a vision to expand it later to connect Vienna, Bratislava, and Bratislava, Budapest. So when we started, we heard a lot of people saying, this is not possible, you can't do this, it's never going to work. So this is kind of the answer that we're giving them. And, you know, for me personally, I think that if someone tells you it can't be done, it only means that they haven't figured out how to do it. It doesn't mean that you can't figure it out. So, thank you.